Hey y'all, welcome back to the ranch. I'm Jared Paul, and today we are going to be repotting my pineapple guava forest. This thing came together, just grew up from seed a few years ago, and some of them sprouted up separately, and I planted those as specimen, and they have all since died. Some I tried to keep as smaller bonsai, some I just let grow. Bugs really seemed to love them a couple years ago, spider mites, and so I lost a bunch of the specimen, but this forest survived. And this forest started by me taking it from the seed tray and literally just dragging the forest together the way that they sprouted up into a pot, and that's where they remain today. So the reason why I'm going to repot them is I have extra time, and they're an indoor 24/7, 365 days a year species. So in the winter, this is when I can get away with repotting them. I'm not going to be doing a hard root pruning or anything. I'm actually upgrading the size of their pot, and we're going from a plastic nursery pot into a terracotta pot. So, yeah, we got pineapple guava forest repotting. That's what's coming up on today's episode of Jarhead.
All right, y'all. So here we have the pineapple guava forest, and just luckily, the way things worked out, it turned into a nice little shape to this thing, and I could just picture in the future putting a little path in here and or like a little bench or something and make it look like a little park scene because they just naturally came in this horseshoe shape. Unfortunately, this one back here, even though you can't tell that it's dead, it is. And I've given it about a year to come out of dormancy, or I thought maybe it was in shock of some sort. All the other ones look good, but for whatever reason, this one I think is dead. I'll try to prune it a little bit before giving up on it totally, because when you grow something from seed and then it's a few years old, just for it to die with no explanation next to like trees next to it, that look great, it doesn't make any sense. And actually these don't look great, and that's why I want to repot them today. There's some new growth here, but the growth itself has slowed considerably, and I've inspected closely and there are no insect issues. However, its leaves, all the older leaves, are like wrinkly and brown spotted. So I'm thinking that we probably have a lot of roots in this thing, and also it looks like it has a good amount of perlite in it, but otherwise it's straight potting soil. So it's very organic. And pineapple guava, that sounds like it would probably like a lighter soil, sandier. So I'm going to use my pre-mixed up bonsai mix that I made, which is also heavy in perlite, but for its organic portion it has peat moss, which is good for little new roots. And then there's a bunch of different lava rock and pumice and things of that nature. So let's go ahead and try to get these out of the pot. There's only one larger hole in the bottom of this terracotta pot, and what I'm using for a drainage screen, if you've seen before, I have thousands of these. This is a cut in half little seedling pouch. So when I do trees from seed, I fill these little pouches with peat moss or sphagnum moss starter mix, and that's how I start my seeds. And then you can plant the actual pouch right into the soil and it biodegrades. So it works well as a screen. It doesn't get too gummed up, which I was concerned with. And I have tons of it on hand. I don't always have metal screen or bonsai specific screen on hand. So I don't want to mess with the roots too much, but there are a ton. Can you see that? I mean, I was right. This is probably why it's not growing nicely. So what I'll do is I'll rake some of this soil just so I could use it as a bottom layer in this pot. And then we will address the roots. So yeah, basically pot bound. I had never really repotted any of these trees. Seedlings, yes, but seedlings, you can't really tell much about what their roots are going to do in the future. And I haven't seen any pineapple guava bonsai trees on YouTube for research, so all an experiment. So now I have learned that these have very fast growing roots. They're very fine, Lots of white ones at the bottom, and then there's some really mature ones, really like a spider web, kind of crazy. So that's good to know. So these need repotting definitely every 2 years. Might want to take a look every year since it is more than one tree. But this pot's pretty large, so I would assume it'll be all right. So this is somewhere between a repotting root prune and a repotting slip potting. So problem with slip potting, especially when your roots are like this, if it's already bound up and there's no air getting to those roots and all that, if you just kind of sit it in a larger pot with more soil, it's not going to just naturally start branching out and rooting in the new soil, you know. So, but since it is winter, even though this is indoor year-round, so you can kind of get away with it as long as these roots are white. It means it's actively growing. I don't want to totally disrupt these trees because I've already lost one without messing with the root system, so I definitely don't want to lose the whole forest. They have been what my UK broskies would call finicky. They have been finicky. I was watching a bonsai video today on a black pine repotting. He was using a 2-prong, more rounded rake. And he was saying that, you know, these with 3 or more are more likely to be cutting roots. And I've noticed that with this rake. So if I was in a bonsai shop in the future and I came across a 2-prong one, that's probably be a tool that I would upgrade, even though this is a part of a really nice set. So it is a nice amount of perlite in here. It's not terrible soil. And it's definitely, they just ran out of room. Okay. So I've exposed some healthy roots all around. Now I know this is perlite soil up in there. So I'm going to do kind of like a 50-50. I've got 50% of the roots raked out. And I think that they'll do well to expand to the rest of the pot. And then the other soil that's closer to the roots, closer to the trunks. I know that it's still light and airy. It's not all locked up. It's got some nice perlite in there. So yeah, I'm not going to disrupt the entire root mass for basically what I just talked about. There are some trees you just go for it. From what I've seen, ficuses, Italian figs, olives, things like that. You can be really aggressive with their roots and they don't care. I don't think that this is one of those. I'm not going to do any pruning up top today. I'm going to set this further back so that the front is here and these are all kind of back in the pot. The rear third, I won't have it go fully back. But I kind of want to, in the future, add some sort of figurines, like I talked about, maybe a little bench or something like that, a fake fountain or statue, something dope. Ooh, I have this. That's what I'm going to do. I'll show you before we get done today. I already know. I already have it. It's perfect. Okay. I do my best to pre-stage everything in one area for the entire video. And then I'll edit my video, and while my video is loading or uploading before I could do it to YouTube, that's when I do all my cleanup and stuff. So that by the time the video is uploaded, I've done my descriptions and tags and all that. People who have YouTube channels and do these things, you know what I'm talking about. It's time consuming. By the time I'm done with all of that, all of my stuff's already cleaned up and I can go on with my day. So I can pretty much from start to finish start the video or do the preparation, then start the video, do the whole video, edit the video, load the video, and while that's loading, do my cleanup. and then I'm done. So typically about an hour. So if you're wondering how the hell does this guy do so many videos, that's how. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's famous for saying, you know, do one thing an hour every single day, like play the piano, in his case, lift weights, whatever you want to. It's 365 hours by the end of the year if you commit to it. One of my ancestors, Joseph Ignacy Kraszewski, he's a very, very famous novelist in Poland. But short story long, or long story short, he would play the piano every single day. I always thought that was really really cool part of his biography. I am not musically inclined, but I love doing bonsai at least an hour a day. If I could get a video out, just have some camaraderie with y'all, all the better. So you see my soil is mega light. I would actually prefer to put a top dressing of very fine multicolored river pebbles and sand that I collected from the beach across the way. But it's winter now and I'm out of that medium, so I'll just be careful. And if you have light soil, new soil, and you keep spilling it every time you water, good secret is put a rock in there and water directly onto the rock. So I'm going to get that little statue that I wanted to add to this planting, and then we'll get a close-up of this pineapple guava. Stand by. All right, so here we have it. This little totem here I think is really cool. It's made out of wood. I doubt it's hand-carved. It looks probably mass-produced, but the guy's just got a really cool look on his face. Looks all mean. And I picture this to be like a Hawaiian type of tree, nice and tropical. And I could just picture like wandering a trail and coming across a cool totem like this. So I wasn't going to prune it today, but just to kind of show off these trunks a little bit, just a few of these lower leaves I'm going to knock out. Kind of show off my little dude there. But as far as, hey Stelly, somebody's just waking up. This one's growing to the inside. That'll never be a good thing. Yeah, so I don't know, I have high hopes for this thing. I just feel like it has a lot of potential. Trunks are starting to get woody. And just that natural layout, the way they could create a canopy where it all kind of works together. It's been totally full and shiny before, and so I'm hoping with this repot, fresh soil, a little bit of room to spread their wings and grow, it'll fill out again and we'll get some nice thickening and age to those trunks this year. So, all right, y'all. So me and Stella are gonna hang out now, kick it with mommy. Done with bonsai for the day, but please, if you did like this video, it's winter, so there's not much going on, not too much exciting stuff, but I have a ton of trees that are going to be coming out of dormancy in early spring, so lots of fun pruning, repottings, landscape designs, you name it, I'm psyched. So hopefully we get through this winter and handle the cold, and much great things to come. So please hit that like, subscribe, notification bell. And from my family to yours, baby Stella, cheers, y'all.